Lights, please, Spencer. All right, so as long as the first term doesn't repeat, it's a function. As far as the next one goes, I think everybody got it right? We factor it, setting it equal to 0. We get -8, -2. So far, I think we're doing pretty good. And I think the big problem with number 3 was reading the question. It says, how many more turkeys? Not how many turkeys. So you were a turkey if you chose choice 4, okay?
I don't get it.
Years ago, we used to say that a turkey was like a fool.
Oh, okay.
Like we used to have this great question: how do you keep a turkey in suspense?
Oh, I get it.
Good. Okay, so some of you are thinking about that.
I don't get it.
Sydney doesn't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it at all.
And he just like give us the You don't get it? Should I-
Me too,
should I
Sydney,
be
me
confused?
too.
This is sad.
It's both cities that don't get it.
Does everyone else get it? And we
Okay,
just
now
don't?
I'm stupid. This is funny to watch.
Yeah, what the heck? Does everyone in this class know it except for us?
Yes, yes.
No,
I'm
don't know.
stupid.
I got it wrong too.
The way we keep you in suspense is we don't tell you.
Still doesn't get it.
I'm sure, yeah, it's very famous. I was just going to say, why don't you guys go home and try it on your parents? But your parents will all know it. So, like, if you walk in and you go, hey, Mom and Dad, how do you keep the turkey in suspense? They look at you like, hey, you don't tell them. And be like, all right. So, in 2010, a question?
Why would it be a 0 for the exponent?
That's exactly what I was just going to say. Good job. In 2010, it says here, where X is the number of years since 2010. How many years have there been since 2010 in 2010? 0. So that works out to be 17. And then in 2015, it's been 5. So 2 times 5 is 10. And that works out to 68.77. If you would have argued that this should be 69, I would have been cool with that. But they only gave you the choices. And the best choice then would be 51, because 68 minus 17 is 51. If you'd have thought it should be 52, if this was a write out your answer, or what do they call that? Student constructed response item. That's the new phrase we used to say, extended response. And you'd have written 52, I'd give you full credit. But because of the choices, 51 is the one that has to be it. Now, this one or two of you guys got to step ahead of yourselves. Be careful what you read. What are the zeros? That just means where's it cross? 2, -1, -3. Done. Yesterday we had to reverse them because we had factors involved. But today it was a little easier than that. Yes?
But I thought you had to put it equal to 0. So.
No, that's when it says what is the equation. But this one just says what are the zeros. So this is a step simpler. Okay? All right, any questions? All right, so that is your quiz. Grading the quiz, there were plenty of hundreds in the class. But what I saw was the mistakes that were made, for the most part, were mistakes of reading. How many more years? Give me the zeros. I think you were not paying particular attention to what the question's asking. And as I said about Mr. Braze, when I had him in high school, he was such an amazing teacher, and he always used to look at us and tell us all the time when we would get something like this wrong, he'd go, oh, what is the question asking for? Anyway. Oh.
Was he Irish?
No, he was weird. What is the question asking for? Anyway, I actually did something that, like, stalked him. I did.
Wow.
I stalked him. I did.
That's
You
weird.
need to understand, the whole school's,
The link was hiding in a book.
no, it was worse than that. No, what happened is, Mr. Braves, first off, he looked like Lurch on the Addams Family. He did. He had 13 identical suits. And he would rotate through them every day. Now, back then, like, I've worn this jacket maybe 5 or 6 times, and I'm not bringing it to the dry cleaner anytime soon. Because nowadays, we have smartboards, and smartboards are really, really clean. But back in the day, we used to have chalk. And the chalk would get all over your clothes, and you would have to clean them like every time or two that you would wear them. Now, you can get away with being a little bit less restrictive than that. So, Mr. Braves was just a weird guy. He had a big bump on his head. He looked like Lurch. He wore the identical suit every single day, but it was a different suit. And he said 13, and I believed him because he's a really weird guy, and 13 is a really weird number. So, it's all very believable. And he won the Outstanding Teacher in the School Award many, many times, but you didn't mess with Mr. Brace. He was very tough. Like, if you wanted to speak in his class, you'd have to raise your hand. And somebody raised their hand. Go ahead, raise your hand. Speak. That's how he would do it. And if you made a mistake on a Monday, he'd go, Dumbo Monday. Dumbo Monday. And then if you screwed up on a Tuesday, he'd go, Too Bad Tuesday. And he had a different name for every day of the week.
How about Too Bad Thursday?
No. So
That's
then
not
he
what it
turned
is.
around and he would have all of these different jokes and everything else. And he's the one who created Die and a whole bunch of other different things. So he's a really strange guy. And when I graduated high school, we kept in touch. Then I got my first job teaching here. And I used to go to his classroom after school 1 day a week. And I would ask him how to be a better teacher, what could I do, and so on and so forth. And then I lost touch with him because, you get married, you have kids, you get responsibilities, and you don't talk to him very much. And I found out through the grapevine that he had retired. So I wanted to get a hold of him to reconnect and ask him more questions about teaching. We did have a great relationship, but I didn't know where he lived. So I went to administration in the Bayport School District, and I gave them a letter for him, and I asked if they would forward the letter to him, because he wouldn't let anybody know his address, because we thought it would be a house like the Addams Family house. And I went to, I get a letter back in the mail from him, which I still have framed somewhere in this room. Yes, it was a very good letter. Then the address he put on it was like P.O. Box. It wasn't even a street address.
Did you take 22 Cary Avenue?
No, it was like P.O. Box something or other, Blue Point, New York. So then I went to, I wanted to know where he lived. I won't tell you who. You could waterboard me, I wouldn't tell you who. A friend of mine who was in the police department.
Oh my God.
I went up to him and I said, I need to know where this guy lives.
That's so weird.
Right? I told you, it was like
Why?
stalking. I said, I need to know where he lives. Now, this guy had such a dominant presence. So he said, I won't risk my pension, but I will do every legal means possible to find out where this guy lives for you. So he never had a traffic ticket in his life. No, for a parking ticket, nothing. Eventually, he found something somewhere in a legal database that I could have accessed, so he did it for me. And he gave me his address. It was like 242 Thunder Road, which was really, really ironic because we were all Springsteen freaks and he has a song called Thunder Road. So I find out the address and I drive to his house. And I was so scared. I parked across the street and I shrunk down in my car so that you could barely see where he lived. And my heart was pounding, boom, 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 boom. And I'm watching, and I'm looking, and I'm watching. And he came outside, and I was like, and I'm looking up, and he gets in his car, and I'm following him. And I'm following him all over the place. And eventually I chickened out, and I stopped following him. So the next day, I come back to his house. And I do the same thing.
Oh my God.
And then the third day, I come back to his house. And all I'm telling myself is, this is ridiculous. This is utterly and completely ridiculous. Well, back then we didn't use the phrase stalker. There was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, none of that existed. We used to send our messages with carrier pigeons. So what happens is, as I'm doing this, I'm freaking out. And then I said, you know what? Be a man, Bob. Man up. And I walked up to his door, and I knocked on the door. And I was so scared as to what would happen when I go in there. And you'll see why he was really weird in a minute. But he opens the door and he goes, oh, Bob Sub 2, how are you? And he lets me in, and I was like, so I go inside and I sit down. And the first thing that struck me is he did not own a television. He didn't have a television in his house.
That's sad.
Yeah, he thought it was like an evil thing. And then at 4 o'clock, the phone rings, and he goes, that'll be my nephew. And he gets up out of the chair and he goes, yeah, okay, thank you, yes, very good, thank you so much. Oh no, he said it would be my retarded nephew. He goes, oh, that'll be my retarded nephew. And I go, he goes, so then he sits back down. I go, Mr. Brace, it's not a very nice way to talk about your nephew. He goes, oh, no, he's really retarded. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, well, everybody needs a job. His job is to call me at 4 o'clock. So he calls me at 4 o'clock every day. He gets on the phone and goes, oh, Uncle Doug, it's 4 o'clock, Uncle Doug. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for telling me it's 4 o'clock. Because he's very strange. And he would hang up the phone. So I would spend lots and lots of time at Mr. Brace's house, and I would go over there, and he gave me much advice and much wisdom. But he was a phenomenal teacher, and
Oh my God.
Eventually he died. He needed a heart and lung transplant, and he died on the operating table. Yeah, it was really sad, because one of the things I would have killed for is to have him come in and teach you guys. And he would have done it. He was the best of the best of the best. Much of what I have in me that's any good comes from him.
Literally Mr. Brown.
Go ahead.
Was his house nice though?
Yeah, what did his house look like?
Was it like
It was very clean. It was impeccable. It was very kind of bare.
Was he one of those old people that would put like plastic on all their furniture?
No plastic on the furniture. There was not spot under the stairs as they came up, which I kind of expected. Just a very different sort of guy. Okay, now let's go over the answers to the pretest from yesterday. Ready? Take a look. Ask me anything that you don't agree with or that you are wrong, that I may have been wrong about, because I haven't hit my daily dumb mistake yet. Okay, head of the game. Oh, I meant to tell you, he said that kids have been trying to find his house for years. I was the first one who could successfully find where he lived. And he said kids followed him home all the time. They would wait in the parking lot at school, and he would get in his car, turn the key, and they would try to follow him home. And he said, and one day he couldn't shake them. He tried so desperately to lose them on the way home. They were tailing him. He said eventually, this is how weird he is, he pulled up at a person's house that he had never met before in his life. The front door was open. He parked in the driveway. He walked in the front door. And he sat down in the living room, and he looked at the woman and said, don't worry about it, I'm a teacher, I got a whole bunch of kids following me, I want them to think I live here. So then he noticed all the cars pull away, and he went home. And the next day, the lady said there were like 22 cars outside of her house, all knocking on the door saying, Mr. Brace lives here. She goes, oh no, the weird guy yesterday? No, he just walked in the front door for no reason. So, yeah, he was a piece of work. So, all right, anyway, here you go, keep going. Any questions?
Imagine some random guy.
Why did he think he was
Right, that's what he did. All right,
I love Breaking Bad.
yes.
Why did he think TVs were evil?
I don't want to say evil like, he has a really good point behind this. A lot of stuff that comes on TV rots your brain. And he didn't want his brain rotted. He was a brilliant man.
But he has a telephone.
Yes, yeah, that wasn't the same. That was more optional. So, he did have computers. All right, hey, psst, guys, I'm afraid I made a mistake telling you the story. Let's focus on this. Any questions? This writing seems a little bit small to me, at least.
Oh, wait. What was number 3? Okay.
Okay, are there any questions on 1 through 7? Okay, let's go to the next page. Now, the X represents the number of hours worked because you're paying the employee $25 per hour. So since if you're multiplying by X, that has to be the number of hours. The 9,000 is the amount of money they took in for the week because it's from that you pay the employee. Why does it subtract? Because when you pay the employee, the amount of profit you have goes down, it decreases. And 25X is the total pay to the employee, 25 per hour for the number of hours worked. Yes?
Could you also say that the 9,000 is the initial amount?
Yeah, that would be good too. Are we good on 9 and 10? Yes. All right, ready?
No.
Number 9 is a question that a lot of kids struggle with. So I don't know the first term, blah, blah, blah. Second term, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But I do know the third term is 15. Fourth term, blah, blah, blah. Fifth term is 19, blah, 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 blah. What I notice is to go from the third term to the fifth term, I go up a total of 4.
Or we can also use stat.
Yes, you could do stat calc also. Very good. Now, if I go from 15 to 19, that's up 4, but I went 2 places. So I have to divide by 2, and that means I go up 2 per time. And that makes sense, because what's right smack in the middle between 15 and 19? 17. So then if I go backwards, it's 13 and it's 11. So the first term is 11. The common difference is 2, and it's always times n minus 1 when I write an explicit form. Okay? All right. Yes?
For number 10, we didn't have to solve it all the way, right? Because it just says
Oh, it just says write a formula. Okay, yeah, that's good. Yes?
For number 10, why is it 19 as an exponent?
Because you started at 5 and you go to 24. You didn't start it at age 0, you started at age 5.
Because I
Yeah,
put
but that's
15.
why I subtracted
Yeah, I put 15.
20 from.
Oh, yeah, you know what? I had 20 here and 24 here. So if you wrote 20 thinking that was it, that's fine. I would
I
give you...
did 20
No, I did
minus 5.
15.
Yeah, that's fine. I give you full credit for that. That was my screw up, not yours.
I did-
They should have both said the same number. And it said 24 here, so I changed this one to 24. I could have changed the 24 back to 20. So either way, you know what you're doing. You're good. Okay?
Wait, but I got 15 instead of
Right, but then you used the 20 here, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I did was, because one of them said 20 and one said 24, I changed the 20 to the 24. You changed the 24 to the 20. But you're doing it the right way, so you're okay. Okay? All right, any other questions there? All right, let's go to the next page.
What was 12?
Was that on the previous page?
Yeah.
Yeah, the value of your, that was the daily the mistake from yesterday.
Yes. Yes.
Value of a
Well, that was more of a typo. I'm really good at
I put
typos.
ownership.
I promise you, my spelling is excellent.
You spelled value wrong too.
Yeah, that was a typo. That wasn't a spelling mistake.
Ownership. That sounds fun.
Okay. All right. Initial amount, common ratio, D or N minus 1.
Wait.
14 and 13.
Well, come on, guys, head in the games. I had them out for a really long time. Let's go. Come on. Yes.
So when you write a geometric formula, you always multiply?
Yes, that's what geometric is, common ratio.
Yeah, I kept forgetting that.
Yeah, that's a
I
biggie.
did plus.
Yeah, that's a biggie. Yes.
For 15, if you didn't put D and I put N, would you mark that wrong?
No.
Okay.
Lena? Yes.
How'd you get the 2 for...
Because this is the common ratio. 2,500, 5,000, 10,000. I'm doubling it every time. The way you find a common ratio is really simple, Sydney. Just do 10,000 divided by 5,000, 5,000 divided by 2,500, and make sure it's the same every time.
Oh.
Okay? Here we go.
I didn't understand.
It says which one would make it not a function. It's not a function when one of the inputs has two different outputs. So if I added a negative 4, 1, that would mess it up because negative 4 would go to 1 and negative 4 would go to 2. That would make it not a function. Okay? That one's actually pretty easy. All right. 17, 18.
Okay, you go first, way.
They're not functions.
Right free. Catherine, right free for number 12. Question, Jano.
Yeah, I got X. I got this totally wrong. I don't know what I did. My first answer was X equals negative 1 and X equals negative 14 over 3.
Yeah, not even close. You just factored wrong.
Okay.
Make sure you want to factor correctly. All right? All right. I want to pay attention to number 18. Hey, this should be a gift, and my experience is it is not a gift for many kids. First off, keyword from. What do you remember about from?
Well, you switch the order.
Right,
So-
from goes first. Wherever from is. From doesn't necessarily mean switch. Listen, hold it. If I wrote from 20 subtract 5, the 20 goes first. If I wrote subtract 5 from 20, the 20 still goes first. So from goes first. Everybody say that.
From goes first.
So I take whatever says from and I put it first. Then I subtract and I put the whole thing in parentheses. And here's the key step. We've talked about this before. If I see every sign changed, almost always the kids get it right. If you skip the step of changing the signs, it's often the case the kids get it wrong. Spencer.
Never mind.
Enough said. All right, number 19. There you go. Yes.
I don't think I would know how it's arithmetic.
How it's what?
How it's arithmetic, like how do
Oh,
you...
arithmetic?
Yeah.
The way you tell is because there's a common difference.
Wait,
When it goes up by the same amount every single time, that's arithmetic. When you multiply every single time, that's geometric. Yes?
I don't understand how you should, like, how you know to write, like, how to write an explicit or recursive number.
Explicit is used to find a specific explicit term. So this says start with the 4 and you add 7, add plus 7 times n minus 1 times because you don't add the 7 for the 4, only after that. That's explicit. Recursive says I'm going to tell you how to generate the series, the sequence. So I'm going to tell you the first one and I'm going to tell you the rule. So the new one is the previous one plus 7. That's what recursive means. Yes?
So A sub n is the new one?
No, a sub n plus 1 is the new one. A sub n is previous. Okay? Or you could do a sub n and a sub n minus 1.
So you don't put 4, you just put like...
You just put the 4 for the first term.
Oh.
Then you're going up by 7, so that's why you add
So you
7.
just put what's going to apply?
Yes.
What about if it's geometric?
Then I would put the 7 in front of it. And it'd be multiplied.
So it'll be 7, 7 times A sub n?
Yes. If you were multiplying by 7.